What's up, everybody? I got a few messages yesterday from people asking, where's the garage sale video? Did you go garage sailing? Yes, I did. The reason why the garage sale video wasn't up yesterday is because I uploaded the Spooky Empire Mayhem and Halloween Extreme convention video. I went to that convention on Friday. I wanted to get that up, as quick as possible while it was still relevant, so that went up Saturday. So here's the garage sale video. Now the reason why there's no footage from me driving around is because I left my camera at home. I was gone for about 15 minutes and went to go reach for it and realized I didn't have it. I didn't really, technically purchase a lot of stuff from different garage sales, so there really wouldn't have been too many necessarily like pickups filmed. And in fact, most of the stuff I got, the good stuff, was much later in the evening. Because I met a woman at a garage sale and went over to her house, but I'll get to that in a minute. First off, the first house I went to while garage sailing yesterday, I picked up for $1 each, 360 games. Nothing great, just the first Gears of War, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 3, and Modern Warfare 2. What I mean by nothing great is, nothing super rare or anything. Obviously, these are some decent games. But those are $1 a piece. And then I'm going to kind of screw up the order of what I got stuff, probably. At a house later in the day, I don't think it was I think this was in the correct order still. I picked up a pink DS Lite with the charger and a Boy and His Blob on the Wii. This was out on a table with some other, Wii titles, sports games and stuff. And I asked, hey, do you have any more games? And he goes, well, what are you looking for? And I was like, anything video game related. So he's like, well, come on in the house. And I was like, okay. So his two kids and him take me into the house, and they're all asking about games, and what do you like to play, what do you play? And he pulls out a little tray of, Nintendo games, couple Super Nintendo games, couple N64 games, nothing of any importance. So I passed on those. They bring me the DS and some DS games. All the DS boxes were all empty. So that was sort of a bummer, because there was a couple Mario titles. There's only 2 actual DS games they could find. Everything else was just empty cases. And then he says, well, would you be interested in, a Nintendo system? And he goes, because we have one in the box. And I was like, well, yeah, hell yeah. So he pulls it out, and it's technically his girlfriend's. So he has to give her a call, and she absolutely does not want to sell it. And then she happens to come home. She was right down the road. She comes home while we're still there, and they got in some weird argument. They really didn't seem like she wanted to sell anything. But they sold me the DS Lite and obviously the game that they had out for sale for $15. But I offered $50 for the box Nintendo, and she's like, no, I plan on setting that up and playing it and blah, blah, blah. And I had offered to buy just the box. I'm like, well, would you sell me the box for $10 or something? And she seemed like she was kind of thinking about it, but then they got in an argument, and that was it. It was done. So she sort of ruined the whole deal there, but whatever. Then picked up just a fat PS2, no cables, nothing. It is definitely defective. They said it won't turn on anymore, but that doesn't matter. This is going to go to Aaron. That was $1. So that was definitely a good find. And then this all came, let's see, this and this. This I got, there was a kid who had a little tray of some Game Boy Advance games. I got a copy of Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. This is the second one I've gotten recently. And then I said, well, do you have any more games? He goes, I have a bunch of original Xbox games. So we went into the house, didn't see anything I was interested in. And I was like, well, do you have the system for, your Game Boy Advance games? And he goes, oh yeah, I have an old Game Boy. It's a Game Boy Micro. And I was like, really? And he pulls out an actual Game Boy Micro. I thought maybe he was just, he didn't seem like he would have known, the actual term and stuff for it. And it was buried in his sock drawer or something. No charger, but I had a charger, and the battery was completely dead. But when I got home, plugged it in, and it works. It plays. There's some light little scratches on the faceplate. You can interchange these. This is the silver on black. Mine that I have is the black with the silver faceplate. So that is pretty cool. The game, he wanted $5 originally. I offered him $3, and this was before he went to the house. And the system, 50 cents. I was like, why why so cheap on the system? But I wasn't going to complain, so I got the system with no charger for 50 cents. That's a good investment on that one. And then this all came from the last sale I went to in the morning, which was another pretty decent surprise. I got 4 Game Boy games, which is, I said, hey, do you have any, they didn't have any games out, and the dad actually had to go call his kid. He came out, and, I was like, I'm looking for any games, and he goes, well, I have, like, maybe some old, like, handheld games and stuff, and I was like, yeah, and, like, Pokemon, Mario, whatever, Zelda. He goes, oh, okay, so he comes back, and he brings out Pokemon Gold, and 2 copies of Pokemon Silver. None of them have working save batteries, they're all dead. And also a copy of Dragon Ball Z Legendary Super Warriors. And we were sort of making like a deal on those, and I was like, do you have anything else? Any older systems, games, N64, Super Nintendo, original Nintendo? And he brings out Paperboy, which I did not pick up, and Contra 3 on Super Nintendo. So I was like, yeah, so anything else? You have, I'm like, any more, I guess, current stuff also, Wii or GameCube or PS2, and he goes, well, I have some PS2 titles, and he brings out 3 games. One was a disc only of, like, a monster truck game. One was, I think one of the Star Wars games. And then the third one, the Star Wars game had its case, and the third one was Dot Hack GU Volume 3 Redemption, which I was really surprised to see complete and also in really nice shape. So all of this, these 4 games and these 2, we were talking about, I offered him like $20 for these 4 before he brought everything else at, so we were sort of trying to figure out a price. I was able to get all this thrown in for $20. So I was really happy. The reason why he decided to throw these 2 in is one of the silvers, and actually no, both silvers were missing screws. He was going to replace the batteries for them. He couldn't find his screwdriver, and he lost the screws, so they were both missing screws. So I was like, hey, I have like other Game Boy games at home. I can just pop, crappier ones. I can pop the screws off and put them in these. So, what kind of deal could we do for, the fact that those are, missing or empty? So, $20 for all those. And, I mean, this game alone now is somewhere like in like the $70 price range on eBay, which always surprises me. But Kenneth absolutely loves finding or picking up Dot Hack games, so I have a feeling Crazy Kenneth is going to be at least looking at that. So that was all in the morning. Then later on in the day, I had met a woman at a garage sale, at an estate sale, and they didn't have any games. She said, well, I have like some GameCube stuff, and I have Game Boy Advance games, and I have the Game Boy player for the GameCube to play, the Game Boy Advance games. I was like, okay, so we exchanged numbers, and while I was garage sailing still, we were actually texting back and forth because I wrote my number down, and I forgot to text it to her. So I texted it to her while I was out. Says, oh, hey, here's my number, and she goes, cool, I'll put it in my phone, and and I said, sorry, I forgot to do it, and she's like, oh, no problem, it just gets worse, with age, memory. So we were kind of going back and forth, joking around. This is like a 60-year-old lady. She's definitely, much older than the normal person that I would be dealing with, games-wise. I wasn't thinking she was going to have any video games, but you can never tell. Don't let age be a factor. So later on in the evening, about, 7:30, 8 o'clock, we finally got a hold of each other. I drove to her place, and she had the Indigo GameCube with the Game Boy player, and there's a copy of Yoshi's Island, Super Mario Advance 3 sitting in there. And this has the Game Boy player disc, which I was definitely happy to see. The disc was actually in the system, and then I saw the case sitting on her shelf. Then we got the box for Yoshi's Island with the manual, and this actually still has some shrink wrap on it. Aaron would say, it's 90% sealed. No, Aaron, it's not. And we have a copy of Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2. The game is here. This bag down here has like a bunch of little like carry cases, the little like protective cases, and that game is in there. And there's also a copy of, somewhere in here. Oh shit, I'll find in a second. There's one other, oh there it is. Tetris Attack on Game Boy. So I got all the hookup cables, the Indigo controller for the GameCube, those 2 Game Boy Advance games in the box, and then she had this nice stack of GameCube titles. Kirby's Air Ride complete, Paper Mario complete, Namco Museum complete. We got Twilight Princess, and then she originally wasn't going to sell this, and then after I kind of got everything together, she changed her mind. The collector's edition of Zelda, and the guide for the collector's edition, the guide for Yoshi's Island, and both the Wii and the GameCube version guides for Twilight Princess. She told me to just make her an offer, and I was like, well, I don't know, how about 40? And she's like, that's perfect, that's fine. So I didn't, I wasn't going to be a dick and offer like, oh, $10? She said, make whatever offer you want, I won't say no. So I at least wanted to sort of make it, a decent offer on it. So I said $40, and she was happy with that. So that ended up being quite a nice day. Not a ton of items, but definitely some very, very quality items. I mean, the Micro for 50 cents and that Dot Hack game thrown in there in that bundle for $20 is awesome. So really good day. Possibly my last garage sale day before I leave for tour. I might sneak out on Saturday morning this coming weekend. I leave on Sunday, so I'll just have to see how far along I am packing and that kind of stuff. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Please thumbs up the video. I'm off to film the last episode of Video Game Sellers right now before I leave, and it should be fun. There's a special guest coming today, so keep an eye out for that on Tuesday. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.